Hey everyone, I'm Eric, also known as AMC 150 or just AMC for short. Welcome back to another episode of Legacy of Kain Defiance. And we are trying to find our way into the Light Temple. And if that Timp wasn't... Timp? Huh. If that tip wasn't blatantly obvious already. It was there. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm trying to say for that. I can turn the tips off, but I just haven't bothered. Because truth be told, sometimes like I do actually like the fact that they're there. Sometimes what you need to do is not overly obvious, and it can help you. Other times, what you need to do is not obvious, and it says nothing. Which I will mention a point in time in particular when we get to that point.
Again, I experienced that odd sense of displacement as I was transported to the vampire ruin once more. But this chamber was different than the first.
Kind of feels like those lines should be playing when he arrives into this room, not in transit. I don't know why it...
In their defeat, the vampire's enemy retaliated with a terrible curse, afflicting the vampires with a bloodthirst that turned their once noble race into ravenous predators. This curse plunged the vampires into despair and apparently drove many to madness and self-annihilation. What was it that so devastated them that they were driven to suicide?
Well, that's interesting. So the take on vampires is that they weren't always blood hungry. It was a curse from their enemies. Enemies who've we haven't directly gotten the name of, but if you watched Soul Reaver 2, the final moments of that game gave you a name. That is in fact the correct name, and we will learn that for certain later in this playthrough. Alright, whoa, goodbye you. About to say, let's try to find the place to shift back, but it was right there immediately. It's kind of useful.
I had succeeded. The Reaver was forged with the power of light, and now my way was clear. I would seek out Ariel at the pillars and see if she could enlighten me.
Alright, so yeah, we have a nice big statue that came alive and now wants to kill us. That's a thing. And so these guys don't always flinch, so it's actually a very good idea to back off, let them attack, and then go after them. But don't get greedy, because as you saw there, I actually almost didn't dodge that attack. So honestly, you're better off to go in, get 1 or 2 hits in, bait them to attack. That actually works best. Bait them to attack, get your 3-hit combo in there, and then get away. I am lucky that didn't hit me. So if you keep this up and just... Oop, I thought he was dead there. I don't know how I managed to dodge that, but I'm definitely not complaining. Oh, he's dead. So yeah, those guys can definitely be difficult if you don't know how to deal with them, because if you just run into like a straight fight and just attack, you will get your ass handed to you. They hit fairly hard. They always knock you off your feet and send you flying. And as you saw, they don't always flinch. So they can take a beating and just give it right back to you if you're not careful and you're greedy with it. So it's definitely something you got to be careful about when you're going to fight them, especially later on, because you will fight them in larger numbers later on. Alright, where are we going? Was that the only... Alright, yeah, that was the only collectible down here. So let's get the hell out of here then. What's down this way, actually? Oh, I'm glad I stopped where I did. I almost ran right off the ledge there without even knowing it. Alright, so we have the Light Reaver now. Which means there's a couple of things we can pick up in the cemetery now that we have the Light Reaver, because we need to put out some darkness. So if I remember where those are and how to get to them, I will. Of course these things are around and everywhere. And by these things I mean these things. Right on clue. Wow! Right on clue instead of Q. Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. Quite frequently. Yep. I meant to say quite frankly, but apparently frequently decided to come out instead. So, quite frequently, I frankly don't know what I'm talking about. Oh my god. Wow.
I had the means now to depart the cemetery. I only needed to find the gate that would send me on my way.
Alright, well, we know where the gate is. But there are two things... Oh, for Christ's sake. There are two things that I want to collect first. While we have, before we leave, because once we leave, there's, I believe once you leave the cemetery, there's no way back to the cemetery. I suppose I could be wrong, that you might be able to travel back, but I haven't tried to, so I'm just going to assume, for now I'm going to assume you can't, until I either see otherwise or I'm told otherwise. So we're going to go get, those two collectibles, as I don't remember what they are. I think there might be health and telekinesis runes or something. Hopefully they're not just arcane tomes, because if they are, I'll be a little annoyed if that's all they are. Alright, so that is a one-way door that we can't open. However, if I remember right, this is a faster way to one of them. And of course, I do it incorrectly. I think there is where I want it. If this doesn't work, then I'm just... What the f... Alright, you guys saw that, right? You guys, like... screw it. I'm gonna go the other way, because this will take... This might take more time, because I don't know where to put that. I did it that way last time I played through this, but I don't remember how I set things up. Where am I in respect? Okay. Oh, I'm about to get ambushed, aren't I? Yep. What's my experience like? Alright. So, we have a new Reaver. Let's test out this new Reaver's ability. Building up the meter so it gets max, so we can see what it's like when it's supercharged, I guess you could say. Alright, there we go. Notice how after I hit them, they kind of like stumble and cover their eyes a little bit. Kind of acts like a, well, like a flash bomb essentially. It'll temporarily daze them or blind them. And the spell version, like the Reaver spell, I guess I'll call it, because I don't remember what it's actually called, is basically the same thing, just on an area. Gives off a big flash of light that blinds everyone in the area for a certain amount of time. It's pretty handy, actually. Now I'm going to ignore these guys. Yeah, I'm going to ignore these guys for now. Ow! I'll ignore these guys for now. Let's go into here. Because this should lead us to that collectible. I really hope it does. I hope I'm not just being an idiot and going in circles right now, because I could definitely see myself doing that. I still need the Dark Reaver. Alright, so yeah, this was the right way to go. My health back. We're gonna go into here. And that's a telekinesis rune. You can tell that because it was glowing green. Okay, now there's one more collectible in this area to get, and there's a little more backtracking to it, so I'm either going to fast forward the run to it. I think I'll fast forward the run to it. Yeah. That was a mistake. Alright, we're going up here. Oh, that's right. Wrong Reaver. Okay. So now we're going to get the hell out of here. Okay. I'm going to make... Wow. Making a lot of weird landings that I was not expecting. Oh, was that, Ah, that was a full rune. That last health pickup was camera change screwed me up there. Last health pickup actually increased our. Whoa! Yeah, alright, these guys are alive. Alright, so that was unusual. That looked like I hit the mage here up in the air, and then a second one just flew out of her off in a different direction. There are a lot of enemies here. Alright, this is that shield I was talking about in an earlier episode. They put a spell on, it protects them from damage. Oh, they can teleport, I forgot about this. So, I really don't know if... Oh my god, wow, I've never seen that before, the triple fireballs? Alright, you mages are even more dangerous than I had thought. But yeah, that shield, that protective shield they put on them, it really does look like it only... Oops, I think I screwed that up. No, I didn't. Good. It really does look like it'll protect them for a certain amount of damage. It simply just absorbs a certain amount of damage before it stops. Alright, so we just got the third ability, which is exactly the same as Kane's. You guys guess what the fourth ability is going to be? Should I no, I'm not going to bother going up and killing the rest of the guys up there. I'm just going to kill this mage over here. Okay, so the annoying thing about these mages with the teleporting, that I've actually had it several times where if you kill them as they're disappearing for teleport, they will basically stay on the ground where they would disappear from, but they would stay invisible, and you wouldn't know that they're like in that dying state unless you just happen to like hit the button close to them, sort of thing, and finish them off. So it's a little annoying, because that happened to me quite a lot in my last playthrough. So it's something to be wary of. Oh wow, depth perception. I was really far from it.
At last, the gate yielded to the powers of light and darkness with which the Reaver had been forged. The way to the pillars was open.
Way to the pillars is open. Alright. Believe we're going to be switching to Kane now. Yep. The pillars in the age of the Seraphan. So the age of the Seraphan, that's where we were. Whoa! Already starting. That's where we were at the end of Soul Reaver 2, in the Seraphan's age. So, oh my god! I was not expecting there to be just random projectiles. Alright, well, he just got his fourth technique, and it is, as you may have guessed, very much like his third technique, just done from the air. But actually, it's a good way to set up for another combo. So it's actually somewhat useful. I think it's a little more useful than the third one. The one doing it on the ground doesn't really. I personally don't see much use for it. I think the one in the air is a little better, because you get them set up there, you hit them with that, and you can go right into another combo. So you can really you can juggle a lot more effectively. So it's telling you to like aim manually at these things here, but nothing came of that. Thanks, game. I think maybe they introduced some, like they implemented some of the tips in here and then changed the order and how things were done, and then didn't change the tip thing afterwards, because there's no reason to even mention anything about that there. None at all. Additionally, okay, sure.
How strange to see this place long before my birth. Centuries before the corruption set in that would poison the land and put me on the treacherous path I still followed. In the future, these edifices would be condemned to darkness and decay. I would cause their fall and build my empire upon their ruins. Was it still possible that with the right knowledge, the right moves, I might one day see Nosgoth restored, the pillars pure once more? My answer, according to Mobius, lay somewhere to the west of this place. I could restore the world, perhaps, but never again could I give Nosgoth back her innocence.
So now we're starting to actually get Kane's perspective on things, on events. And so the character who was at first the villain is now well, doesn't really seem to be much of a villain, does he? Considering some of his actions in the past and all that, I definitely wouldn't call him a hero. But he's the hero that Nosgoth gets, or has. Oh god, Kane is Batman. How's that for fan art? Let's just have a fan art of Batman with Kane. Let's not ever do that. Okay, I almost walked right into water. Alright, and yeah, of course I went down there because I knew that was there. I remember that one. How much does that bring us to now? Alright. Only 5 more. Only 5 more in the total thing for him to collect. Now, I don't remember if I said this earlier, but yeah, I definitely said this earlier. But this is not going to be 100% playthrough of this. I'm going to, inevitably, I'm going to miss one of the pickups somewhere, because I don't think I've ever found all of them in one go. I'm pretty sure every time I play this game, I find one that I missed previously, but I missed one that I found previously. And this is actually, I just realized, is a new enemy. The one in red there. If I remember right, I didn't notice this time through, but I'm pretty sure he uses like two-handed weapons, so he hits kind of hard from what I remember. But he's not overly dangerous. None of these enemies are really overly dangerous. Once you get used to the combat controls, dodging and whatnot, this game is fairly simple. Oop! Got shot from behind. Go figure. Alright. Camera. Thank you. I found another tome. Wow, that's a lot of enemies. I don't know what I just fell off of, but sure, why not? Alright, I don't think that's gonna work too well. I swear I pushed jump. Alright. unintentionally threw him onto a spike. Alright, so yeah, there's the red guys. They got big two-handed swords. Ow, that kind of hurt. I didn't actually notice how much damage it did, but the one shot knocked me right off my feet. But actually their red glow is gone, so clearly that was magic from them, so maybe they actually don't hit so hard on their own. Oof. Or maybe they do. Because he totally just knocked me on my ass again. Well, I'm not gonna bother jumping down, so let's just drain them that way. Alright, I am just realizing now we're at about 27 or so minutes at this point. I think this is probably a good place to call it, so I'm going to end the episode here for this time. Thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed. And hopefully you'll come back and join me to see what lies ahead for Kane. Until then, take care, you hear?